Right, good afternoon, it's Dave the Urban Survivalist. Hope you're well today. Today we're going to be looking at something a little bit different. My fishing rigs, traces I make, how to make a single fishing trace and watching them work in action. Let's go and have a look. Okay, so this is what we're going to be making. You see here, very simple, and this is all we're going to need to use. Is this here, and a weight. Okay, so these work really well. If you watch to the end of the video, you'll see me catching some fish with it. So let's go and have a look how they're made. Right, so this is what we've taken out of this box. So here we got different size of the balls. Got a couple of clips. We got one larger swivel and one smaller one, and a couple of these little tiny gripper things. The wire we're using is, here we are. I cut one piece about 1.5 feet long. We can always trim to size after, and another piece approximately about 9 inches, and again we can trim it to size. So the first stage of this is literally on one end of the big one. I want to get one of these clips on. Okay, so one of these clips on here. We're going to do what's called a fisherman's knot on here. So basically I'll wrap that around a couple of times, like so. I can hold that on there. And then I take the excess under there and I thread it through underneath through that gap. Like so. I'll pull that tight. You'll see this a couple of times if you can't see it here. So pull that tight, like so. Okay. Again, we can trim these little edges to make good in the end. Okay. And this bit, for now, I'm going to put this larger swivel on, so I don't get stuff lost. Okay, because that's going to be the bit that attaches to your rod. All right. So now, what I want to do is we're going to thread really fiddly stuff here now. One of these tiny little gripper things, or whatever they're called. They're so hard to pick up because they are so small. Right, let's see if I can show you. So we're going to thread this little thing on there, like so. So you've got it kind of like on there, put it over the green so you can see. Now I want that about 3/4 up. So we want that about from there. So we're going to take that about there. Now we need to crimp this into place, right? So this is where the Leatherman comes in. So I want that nice and solid to stop movement. So that shouldn't really be moving. You can see that's crimped there. No movement there. Okay, adjoining to that, we want a small ball. So we're going tiny first. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Through there, connect it. Then up in size, next size up. It's all really fiddly stuff. There you go, we got it. I can see that one. Right, and then the big one, the bigger. So I'll show you in a sec what we got. So on that first end, we should have that. Can you see that? Right, then, in the middle of that, we're going to put the smaller swivel. Okay? So this smaller swivel here is going to go on there. And then we're going to do the same, but on the opposite way. So now we put the big ball big ball or float or whatever you want to call them. Tell you what, my eyes don't like this fluorescent green one. There we go. Finally. And then little again. Right, so now we're going to put on another one of these spacers. Okay, which is there, this tiny thing. So what we want to do is slide that on again. This is really fiddly, I understand it's fiddly. Right, so we want that over. Want that. So now we've kind of got this thing. Can you see that there? So what I need to do is crimp this on, because I don't want it moving about too much. So I want that on there, and I want to crimp that to stop too much movement on it. It will still move a little bit, but kind of like needs to be able to do that. Okay, so you've got something that looks a bit like a beautiful necklace there, right? Okay, right, the next one, next stage of this, we're going to put this other hoop on this end. Okay, so again, we're going to put that on as we did before. Fisherman's knot, or whatever they call it. Literally wrap that around a couple of times, round like so. Wrap it around again for luck. And then I'm going to take that through, like so. I'll put that through the hole in the bottom. I can get to it. We're going to pull that tight. Again, really strong. We'll trim this up at the end. So what you should have now is kind of like this. This is quite long. Okay, so that's what you should have now, what you see here. All right, so in the middle, here on this part, now we're going to connect here this 7-inch piece of wire. Obviously you can take this down to the size you want it. So again, we're going to knot this, wrap around a couple of times and back on yourself, feed through the hole in the bottom. Okay, I'll strengthen that up. Good. All right. So now, what I want to do is get our hook. So for this one, I'm going to use, just bear with me a second, quite a small hook for this. I'll find a smaller one. There you go. So I'm going to use this hook here, which is not that big. And this is going to go on here. So again, go careful you don't spike yourself. Put that on there. And you can tie it to kind of your limit. So it's like, I want it kind of the same, just a little bit longer than the weight string. So again, go careful. Tie that round. Like I said, this is really, really fiddly, especially when you're on the hook part, because you've got to watch you don't impale yourself. So here, take that down. Through. If I can see that right. This is the problem when you don't get it on the if you can't see underneath it, it's very hard to kind of like do it, if that makes sense. Some people just like hook it up first, but I'm just making it just so I can kind of show you how I do it. through there. There you go. So again, so what we should have now, we should have the hook. Take it off. You should have this bit in the centre. You should have a clip either side, one with the bigger swivel and one with this. Okay. And basically what we're going to do here is this end is going to go on to my, I'm going to change this around actually. So this end is going to go onto my rod because it's longer. Right, and this end, I'm going to put a weight on. So literally what we have is this kind of thing. We can trim all these ends up if you want to. Right, so we can trim all this like excess off just to make it look pretty. And stop avoiding, stop anything trying to nibble on it or putting anything off. Okay, also on the video you can see how well this works, and also the fishing kit I use it with. So that's kind of it really. If you can see that, that is pretty much what we're going for. That is my single trace. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go off to the seafront and see how it works. Let's go and have a look. So, beautiful day, but very, very windy. So hopefully we can catch something today. We'll see how it goes. And here I've got my fishing kit, rod out, extendable survival rod, and it's quite windy here. So we're going to see how these traces, rigs as you say, work. So what I've got here is a one hook trace. So one hook there, away there, and this little fella's going to go on it. There we go, we're still waiting. So my traces are obviously working. Great job. Right, there you go. Here's another one. Not as big as the first one, but you can see still a good size compared to the size of my head. I'm using the single trace at the moment, so with some worm on. And yeah, good results so far. That's two good size fish. Right, my trace is obviously working. Here's fish free, another good sized one. Okay, he's going back. We don't need any fish today, so these are all going to live today. So that's fish free. Right, there we go, fish four. We're still getting a good sized fish coming out today actually. Yeah, fish four. It's been my video on showing you how to make the traces and showing that they actually work. The bait we used today was lugworm on single hook trace, and it's done the job in a survival situation. That'll feed me for the day. A couple of hours work. Right, it's been emotional, lots coming up. Catch you soon.